Hello everybody, welcome back to the Big Data Analytics class. In this lecture, we're going to provide an introduction to HBase. HBase is a data model that's very similar to Google's big data table, and it's designed to provide a quick random access to very large amounts of data. In this module, we're going to look at different aspects of HBase. We're going to look into what HBase is. How does HBase relate to HDFS? If we already have HDFS, do we really need HBase? And we'll see the answer to that. What is HBase data model? And then what is the underlying physical model description and the architecture they're holding and enabling all of these operations on HBase to work within the big data Hadoop framework and the architectural stack. And then we're going to start using HBase in practice. So what is HBase? HBase is a distributed column-oriented data store built on top of HDFS. If you look into the actual Apache this definition of HBase, you can see that they define it as a Hadoop database, a distributed, scalable, what we often call a big data store. And if you dig a little deeper at the Apache HBase website, you can see that they talk about HBase being an open source project whose goal is to provide storage for the Hadoop distributed file system computing. I always like to look at Wikipedia, and so Wikipedia says HBase is an open source, non-relational, distributed database modeled after Google's big table and written in Java. So we're going to go through a lot of these aspects of HBase and learn in more details what does that actually really mean. However, in a big picture, we know that it's still part of this Hadoop ecosystem that we have learned about in a previous class. And we know it sits right here between the HDFS and MapReduce. And it's built on top of HDFS, and as you will see later, it actually utilizes MapReduce jobs to execute its actions. The data is actually stored internally inside the HDFS. So let's look a little bit about the history. HDFS first came about in about November of 2006 when the first paper came out describing the big table and all of the interesting aspects of the challenges Google was trying to deal with at the time. This is what started and triggered all of this additional research and different ways of dealing with these very large data sets. In about February of 2007, initial HBase prototype was created and contributed to the Hadoop. Fast forward to October of that same year, first usable HBase was delivered, and in January of 2008, Hadoop became the top-level project, and HBase became one of the sub-projects, and it still is. Ever since, there have been many releases of HBase, and it is one of the most commonly used applications within the Hadoop stack.